Hello, and welcome here on my working table, and welcome to another episode in this Monday morning's mixed media piece. And I will put a link below here under the little word more for the playlist, so you can see some of all the other things I've done in this altered cookbook. And I also think there is a link how I altered such a notebook. But I hope the light is okay, because we're in fall, and not for long it will probably start to be going into winter. But I hope it is okay. My name is Lisbeth, and I'm Danish, and I'm an abstract mixed media artist who likes to do many different things. And there are playlists for all the different things, so look for what interests you and what doesn't interest you. Skip that. I think it is easier that way instead of scrolling up and down when you're looking. And I'm also looking on other artists' videos, and I like when there are playlists. But I've done many different things here in this book here, and the last spread I made was here from my holiday in Apulia in late August and into September. So now I've just turned my page, and I will be working here on this spread. I'm so far back in the book, so the pages have turned to be different here on the last signatures in the book. Not signatures, but the last pages, yeah, it is signatures in the book. From being very rough and nice to paint on, it suddenly has become glossy papers, and I know I sometimes have difficulties by getting the paint to hang on to these papers. But I will see here what I can do about that. Today is really an experiment, because I haven't been out shopping a little tiny couple of things, and amongst them were these fluid cold, and I've got them in 2 different colors. And I bought myself a bottle of ink, Parker Quink ink, and the funny or nice thing about this ink is when you put water onto it, it divides in the purplish and the black color, and I will see if I can use that as an effect. But I want to do nearly the same on both sides, but on this side I will paint gesso and see how it works when I do the same, do what I will be doing on gesso. But on the other side I have a piece of mixed media paper, so I will cut it up so it fits, so I can glue it on the page here and see how the inks and the fluid cold moves around on these 2 different substrates. And that is nice to know, because if it works well on gesso, I can get the gesso to hang on to this glossy here. I know in the last pages in the book I can put gesso on and do something, but else for the rest of the pages in the book I will have to do more collaging, because I know I can glue paper on this. So that is what it's about today, and it is going to be splattering and splopping around with the water and these 2 fluid things. So the first thing I will do is to paint this with gesso. I just put a couple of old pages in here, so hopefully I won't damage what is under here on the other side. So I will just take some gesso. Perhaps if I don't have a gesso that is much thicker than this, but if I had, that could perhaps be better. And need a good amount of it, and probably several layers also to cover up what's on the page. And I don't want it over there. It isn't covering totally, but so it will probably need one more or two more layers, but I will let this dry for now and put a layer or two more on. But while this is drying, I will measure this and cut a piece of my mixed media. It is 300 GSM, so it is quite heavy, so I think it can really absorb water, and not absorb, but I can beat it a lot up with water and other things without it getting damaged. Now this page has got 3 layers of gesso, and in the hindsight I should have started to paint the first layer with a brush and not with a credit card. But I like to use the credit card because there are lumps and bumps, and I have tried it with my craft heat gun, and if I get too close it bubbles up, and it is like the paper is dividing there. Yeah, like there's bubble in the paper, but it isn't fully dry yet, so I will let it dry some more. And in the meantime I have cut this paper up, and I think, yeah, it just fits in my book, so that is nice. It has a very smooth side and a very rough side, and since this is so rough, I will take the rough side off. And I will just take my glue stick and put it in the book. But of course I could work on it first and then glue it in my book. Perhaps that is easier. I think I will go for that, and this can lie here and dry even more. So away with that. So let me see if I'm in frame here. Yeah, I am. I'm so high up here, so I have to stand to check, because the book is so big. This cutoff here is 25.5 centimeters by 20.5 centimeters. I think I will use the one color on the one side and the other color on this side here. So I will go for the brown ones here first and see if I can get it out of the box at all. There. And here beside me I have, yeah, now there's gesso in the water, but that's fine. And I'll just press most of it out. I don't think I'm going to need a brush right now for this, but I have water here, and I have a smaller paintbrush, and I have a dip pen and a bamboo dip pen here beside me. And yeah, I think this water perhaps needs to be cleaned, because I would put some water on before I put the fluid coal on. So just a moment, I will get some clean water. I have a small pipette here, so I think I will just say my horizons line will be somewhere near here. You can also take a brush and do this. Perhaps it is easier with a brush, yeah, like that. So now I have some water here, and then I will take this coal and see what happens when I dab something in here in the water. Whoops, and that wasn't supposed to be there. here. There's too much water here, perhaps on my brush. And a little more of this here and here. So now I have this line here. Then I will take my credit card and go down here. Oh, I really love these marks. Isn't that yummy? In some places it gets darker, and some places it gets lighter, and that's fine with me. How much and how you will spread this around, it's up to you. But I think this looks very nice. And I didn't use very much, as you can see. So I will put my lid on again. And then we're going to play with the Parker ink here. And do a line in there somehow. I have a dip pen. I don't know if I can. I think I will need to put some water on first, so it can have something to move around into. And that was a lot of black here. And I tilted a little, and you can see it is dividing up in a really lovely purplish color, the black one. And I can spread it a little around and dilute it even more. Yeah. Let it run up here and down. Oh, doesn't that look gorgeous, gorgeous? The tricky part is to stop while the play is good and not do so much. So and that was a lot here. But this paper can really take a lot. So again, I can tilt it so it goes up here. I don't like that blob up there, so I can help it a little here, and I can also drag this down here. Isn't that funny how you can play? If you're into purple things, I think you will really like this color here. So Parker's Quink ink. I don't think I want to do much more about it, but letting it dry, because I can easily overdo it. The amount of water is, if I had a smaller spray bottle, that wouldn't. So this is a mister, and that is good because it is so fine drops that are coming out, but there comes a lot out. If I had a smaller one where there wasn't coming so much out, this perhaps wouldn't have been so big a blob. But yeah, again, I have to stop because otherwise I will be keeping on moving around here. So I would let this dry. I think this is so dry so I can try to work on it, and I'm really not sure this will work, but we will give it a try. So I will just take my, yeah, there's something on it. That wasn't the meaning. I just needed some clear water. Yeah. Like that, and then we will take the, I think this one is more black, but I'm not, whoops, not sure. It is coming straight out here of my tube. Yeah, it reacts a little different. But let us see when I start moving it around. And I'm really spritzing very light here. So yeah. And this is just black. Perhaps we need a little more. Luckily, it doesn't matter if I splatter something on there because I'm going to glue the other thing I just made on there. So yeah, it isn't willing to spread so much as the other paper is, but I really like the look of this also. So yeah. I think I will stop here with this now and put the lid, if I can find it. There it is on this one. So fluid coat, it is really funny to work with. So again, I will take my Twink ink here and see if I can make some kind of line. Yeah. And if it is possible to tilt the book. Yeah, it's just water. And again, take my credit card and see if it will divide up in this lovely purplish. I think perhaps it needs some more water to divide up. Yeah. It looks quite different. Yeah, I like it, but it doesn't look like the other one, and it isn't so easy to get it to be purple. as it was on the other paper. As it isn't so easy for this to divide up here when I'm doing it on gesso. But, yeah. But this will also need to dry. So, and it always turns, sorry for my arm, but I will hurry putting this on so I don't spill it, or, you know, when I do the working blobs there, and then you have all the things all over your pages or on your table, and that isn't so nice. I think I need to do some black line there, because there you can't see the, perhaps I can do it with a dip, this bamboo dip pen, but I'm not interested in that it runs very much, and I think it is so wet now, so perhaps I'm just making marks or scratching the gesso up, and that isn't the meaning here. I should perhaps have waited, but you know me, I'm not the most patient girl in the world. There. I think that's fine. In the water with that and close that. Now I will let it dry. I will put this beside me here, so this also can dry. I don't know if it will look good, but I have an idea with putting some egg shapes on, and I have this stencil here. There, List Design. It's a Danish brand, so you probably can't buy it where you live. But and I also have this medical exam paper, and when you wet that and put gloss medium on it, it totally disappears where you are gluing it down, and that is what I will be hoping for. So I think I will see if I can put stencil through it with some gold paint here. And it is better to bounce a lot than bounce too little. Less paint and bounce a lot instead of a lot of paint and bounce a few times. That's my, and I should, perhaps I can use this one. Yeah. Whoops, that was a lot. But you can see then I'm just doing like this. But I will make and if you have a substrate that's a little forgiving, it also works instead of doing it on a very hard surface. So let us see here. Yeah, it's perhaps a little hard to see that it's an egg shape, so let us try this one instead. I think it is important to go around the edges so you can get a fine definition on the egg shape. So let's see here. Yeah, it is still hard, but if I cut them out, perhaps that is better. There's this one. I don't know if that would look good, but if you're doing it like I'm doing now, you're ruining your sponge quite easily. Yeah, I don't think that looks very nice. You can't see that it's an egg shape. What does a wise woman do? Yeah, perhaps I should do some small circles instead. Here, turn it this way. But now you have learned about stenciling. Perhaps that could look like bubbles on the two pieces I've just made. So I will paint these and also let them dry. So now they would be ready for what I'm finding out to do on the two pages when they are dry, and it sorry, it would take some time with all the wetness I put on the pages. You can say, why bother to do it like this? Why don't you just paint straight on the page? And of course you can do that if you're 100% sure where you would place them. But this way you can auditioning and see where you want to place them before you glue them down. And I really like that way of working. Yeah, let's just use the last paint. I hate to waste paint, but all us mixed media people probably are like that. So there are a lot of circles to play with. Okay, this isn't bone dry yet, and I've just been to the sink and washed my fingers so I can see if it is smearing on my fingers. And even though it feels like it has really some very, very fine grain texture, it doesn't come off on my fingers. It's just a feeling when you rub it. And that means that the fluid cold and water is attached to the paper, and that is nice to know. You don't have to seal it much further. Looking at it now, I can see I missed my black line, so I have a charcoal pencil here, so I think I will just give it that line. I like that definition line. For me it's like sky and water and sky, and yeah, it ends up like an abstract landscape or seascape or whatever you can call it. I don't just know. Yeah, I know the sea isn't brown like this, but it is that. I have this piece of paper here, and I think I would like some very, very thin strips of it, because you can see I have gone up and down here with my dip pen, and I also have that is just graphite, and I think I would also give it a little going up and down. So you can mark me to your heart's content. That is up to you how much you will do that. make them long, short, or so on. But I'll see how narrow I can tear this, like this. And can I tear this in two? This is just a jelly print on tissue paper, and I have crumbled it up, paint on the plate, and let the crumpled paper down in the paint, and it ends up like this. So it is small pieces like this. I think I would like to put on, and not many, just a few. This is really and the white, I think it would disappear more or less when I glue it down. I think that is all. So I will just take an old book page and my glue stick. I think since it is tissue paper, it is okay to just use a glue stick. If it was bigger pieces, I would take some medium of some kind. Yeah, you can see the white isn't so clear. Away with that. Just a little extra, but I will glue these on, and then I don't know if I want some of the round of these one out, but I can see if I want to put them on. The way you use these painted circles is you take your water brush, go around it so it gets really wet, and then you can tear it off. It really frays so nicely, and that is good when you glue it down. Then it would really look nice where it begins and where does it end. And again, I will just remove here the middle part. There. I can, yeah, does that they belong there? Are they better on the line? I don't think so. I could put two there, but for now I will just let them sit there and see what I come up with on the other one. I think I would put these two there so there's something happening beside this landscapey thing here. But of course you could put many other things and put in some colors and so, but for me this was not so much about getting a lovely piece, but it was more about the experimentation with the substrate and the fluid coat and the Parker ink. So I will have them in my book so I can remember how different it looks when it is on mixed media paper or it is made on gesso. So instead of finding some medium and glue this down, I will just take my glue stick here and give it a good amount. Oh yeah, I can't. One of my followers, Sally Ann, I think her name is. She likes all the crazy things I'm saying, and she had made a new sentence or a new saying, and that is, don't be mean to your glue stick, and not like I used to say, don't be precious with your glue stick. Don't be mean with your glue stick. That is also a nice saying. And I laughed quite a lot when I read it in the comments. I think it was in part 2 of my mixed media book here. There was in the, yeah, it was a Monday, in the second Monday, I think, in November. So now this is ready to be glued in my book. And then there's this here. And I've also tried to rip some strips off here, but I really don't think they look nice here on this piece. I don't like them on, so I won't be keeping them on there, but I will glue a couple of these on so there's happening a little more here. So I will just do that also, and then I can glue the other page in the book, and then I think I am done for today. And here you can see how nice it looks. These small round things. Yeah, it is a little more bumpy. And I put 2 things down, 1 thing down here and 3 things up here, because I don't like only 2. So 1 or 3 or 5 or 7, and after that I don't think people count anymore. So they will be sitting there. Oh, my nose is running, and it is nearly lunchtime. So I will, yeah, I think I will only put a half one here. So there, and then I can cut this off. It's probably out of frame. There, just half one peeking out there. Yeah, no, not up there. We don't count 3.5. So let me see here if I am in. And frame the best I can and put that on here. I will glue this on. You don't need to see me glue that big piece of paper on. But I don't like them together. So I think only look at that one, or yeah, only look at this one. But it is a nice exercise, and I have figured out what the difference is to work on this substrate compared to this substrate. I will glue this on and take some close-ups and round the video up. Since this is such a thick paper, I will be using matte gel to glue it on, because I don't think my glue stick could hold this on. So I will be using that. So now it is glued down and I put some heavy stuff on it. And now I will go and rinse all my pencils and let it dry a little more. And now I will give you some close-ups. I hope you have found this video interesting of seeing me experimenting with fluid charcoal and Parker's Quick Ink. You could have done a lot of other things. I could have put other colors or other mediums in here, but that wasn't the goal in this experiment. The goal was to see how the two things reacted on the two different substrates. The gesso substrate directly in my book and then a piece of mixed media paper. And I can't say I like one more than the other. They look quite differently, even though I have done pretty much the same. This is perhaps more grungy than this one is, yeah. But this little tube of charcoal isn't very expensive compared to what many other things are priced these days. So I think it was a nice experiment for not a lot of money. But if you have, like me, doing this experiment and you have been inspired and you perhaps have learned some tips and tricks, I would appreciate it very, very much if you would give my video a thumbs up and perhaps consider subscribing my little Danish channel. And if you're into this mixed media thing here, keep an eye up. There are more pages left in my book for more experiments and things I can do in this book. Or look at the playlist for this Monday morning's mixed media piece. But else I would just say, please be creative, and please take care, and not but least at all, please be nice to each other. That was what I meant. So I will dabble off for now and just say bye and take care of yourself, all of you. Bye.